Welcome to Hello Health, a show where we have conversations about healthy living. I'm your host, Karen Conwas, and I am a functional medicine certified health coach. We have some cool stuff here on the show today. I had the privilege of sitting down and talking to Dawn Norton, and she is a functional medicine health coach, but she's also a certified EFT coach. She's gone through the training of EFT, which some people know as just tapping. Tapping has gained popularity in the past 10 or so years with the publication of the book, The Tapping Solution by Nick Ortner. So some of you may know that. And she has done some really interesting work with that. And it's really cool. She even does some demonstrations for us. So that will be awesome. Gwen also is back with some healthy tips, which I am psyched for. So before we dive into that, let's continue our conversation on the 24 character strengths. If you're just tuning into the show now and have no idea what I'm talking about, 24 character strengths. It's a survey you can take via survey. It's a free survey. It's about 10 to 15 minutes long. And basically, it's around this philosophy that we all have these 24 strengths within us. We all have them. And some of them shine a little bit brighter than others. And the purpose of doing the survey and discovering this is to have some self-awareness about how you communicate and how you project yourself to the world or understand the world, but also how you communicate with your friends or coworkers, family. It can help you kind of just bring some awareness into that. And it also can help you to understand what strengths you might want to work on to improve communication or to improve relationships. And it's kind of fun to take. It's fun to see, what comes up, and it makes you think about it. There's some that I've had people take it and they're like, well, what? But then when you start thinking about it, like, oh yeah, that makes a lot of sense. So anyway, I encourage you to take it. It's a free survey, and it's very interesting. So today we're going to be talking about humility and humor. So humility is, I think a lot of us can relate to that, is just kind of being humble, right? When life presents itself in certain situations. And sometimes this can be hard for us to do because sometimes the ego likes to be loud and likes to take over. So it's important to kind of take those steps back and to see how you're behaving in certain situations. And examples here in this book, Character Strengths Matter, really great book. It gives you some strategies on working on some of these strengths. And one really great tip in here is to notice if you speak more than others in a group situation. Concentrate on listening to the words of others rather than simply waiting your turn to speak. A lot of us, when we're in even a conversation one-on-one, we will be thinking about what we're going to say next instead of actually listening to what the person is saying. It's human nature for us to try to relate to what people are saying from our own situations and come up with some kind of example to share. But we all come from different backgrounds. We all have different baggage, experiences. Take the time to just listen to what someone's saying to you and taking yourself out of the story because you don't belong there. You're not part of that story. Also, resist showing off when others show off. Observe the reactions that show-offs get from observers. This can actually be pretty entertaining, especially on Facebook when you read comments and stuff. It's eye-opening. It's like, oh yeah, glad I kept my mouth shut. Compliment sincerely if you find someone is authentic and better than you in some ways. That's really, really great advice. Like if you find someone has a shining strength that is low on you, instead of being resentful or just being quiet about it, tell them. It'll make you feel better. And it also everyone likes to get a compliment, and showing someone, hey, this is a strength. Maybe they didn't even realize it. And you're helping them do that. So great advice there. The next one is humor, which is kind of low, I will admit, on my list. It's not the lowest, but it's down there. And when I took this test, the survey for the first time, I thought to myself, yeah, I guess that's true. I do tend to be pretty serious most of the time. And it's made me try to see life on the lighter side, not take things too seriously. Like when things can get pretty crazy in my house, especially in the morning, and like dropping the coffee or, spilling whatever. Just taking a minute, like, okay, this is absolutely ridiculous, and just laughing, like, okay, whatever. This is how my day's gonna go. So anyway, some actions to build humor. Find the fun and lighter side to most situations. Strike a balance between taking things seriously enough and not taking them too seriously. That's good because there is a balance there. Send funny emails to your friends. Rather than simply forwarding chain letters, share humor from your own life. I don't know if many of us share chain letters these days, but that's one of the bright spots of social media, is being able to share funny things. Like, that's one of the reasons why I go on Facebook, see funny memes or funny videos. Sometimes I'll share funny things if they happen with my kids or silly things like that, trying to keep it on the lighter side. There's a lot of darkness to social media. Let's keep it light. Let's just put more jokes out there. With this humor, though, it brought up an example for me of how the character strengths can really help you. So in my house, we have an interesting dynamic. My husband and my oldest son, it's a stepfather-stepson relationship. So it can get a little rocky at times. And when I was starting the coaching program, I actually had them both take the survey. There's a youth survey and there's an adult survey. And both of them had humor pretty high up there. They're pretty strong. And it made me realize that the way that they can connect is through humor, is just like laughing about things or, sharing funny jokes. So that's a really great example of, in a work situation or in a house with family dynamics, if you're looking to improve those, maybe having them take the survey so you can understand how they connect. How can we get these people to communicate really well, or just get them on the same page, the same level? It can be really powerful. So another way that these strengths are really cool. Again, here's the website. It's a free survey you can take. And if you want to share what your strengths are, comment here on Facebook or on YouTube. We'd love to hear what you have to say. All right. That being said, I am so excited to bring on our guest this week, Dawn Norton. So let's get right into it. I am so excited to introduce our guest for this week. Her name is Dawn Norton, and she is a nationally board certified health coach and a certified EFT practitioner. She specializes in stress management and also COVID trauma, and she's also had success with clients who have lost their sense of smell and taste. She has some really interesting stuff to share with us today, and she's based out of Central Arizona. So let's bring on Dawn. Hi, Dawn. Thank you for joining us today.
Hi, Karen. How are you doing? Thanks for having me.
Good. Yeah, this is like fascinating information. Where to start? Let's talk about what EFT is, because there are people watching that probably have no idea what that is.
So a lot of people know EFT by the name tapping. Over time, it's become called tapping. And that's because you tap on the pressure points on different places on your body, but it stands for emotional freedom techniques. And at the simplest level, it's a stress resolution tool, but you can kind of point the tool at anything that you're having a problem with, whether it's something in your thoughts or negative emotions or physical symptoms in your body. It's just a great technique to help release that. And 70 to 95% of all doctors' visits and the things that doctors see people for are stress related.
Yeah. And the doctors don't know exactly what to do with those people.
Right.
They send them on their way. I've been a victim of that myself.
Yeah. And you know, as a fellow health coach, that cortisol is a big part of that equation. When our cortisol rises, it's kind of related to stress. And so they've done studies that show that EFT not only reduces stress and trauma and all kinds of things, but that cortisol levels return to normal after you do the tapping.
That's amazing. Good stuff. And you've been doing it for a while now.
18 years. Yep.
Wow. That's great. What got you into tapping?
Well, I was looking for something that I could help people with, and I'm very compassionate, sensitive to people's emotions, and I would see people suffering and think, man, I wish I had a magic wand that I could, erase their suffering. So I was kind of looking for something, and I kept seeing it mentioned in different places, and I thought, well, I'm going to check this thing out. I don't know what it is, and subscribed to the email newsletter that Gary Craig put out, and was reading these stories and I'm like, this isn't even possible. How are all these people fooled into thinking they're having these experiences? And then I just kind of started believing maybe some things were possible, and I ordered the materials to become trained and started experimenting with it, and just kind of blew all of my paradigms out of the water. My own history is that I come from divorced parents, a lot of trauma, neglect, abuse, grew up without my mother, and reconnected with her when I was about 17. And then when I was 19 years old, she took her life. So that was a huge, traumatic event for me. And as I started using EFT, originally with myself and my children, I have 7 children, married. And as I started using that with my own family and seeing the results and just seeing the trauma like disappear from me and not even realizing that I held it in my body. And then, getting courageous enough, because it looks a little funny. I think people are more accepting of it now than 20 years ago, but it looks a little funny. And so I was a little hesitant to go out and help people. And so I started using it with my friends, and I just kind of got experimental with it. I just was curious and wanted to know. And so whenever anybody mentioned anything, within my hearing, I'd be like, well, I have this little thing. Can I try it with you? And just started seeing amazing results and was hooked. So
that's awesome. That's so great. Okay. So one of the things that I've been talking about as we're promoting the show is your work with COVID patients.
Yeah.
Tell us a little bit about that.
So, if you're on the planet, you've had an experience with COVID. But I had a daughter that came down with it last fall, I think right around Thanksgiving time. And she lost her taste and smell. And, the new year came and went, and she still didn't have it. And spring came and went, she still didn't have it. And I hadn't even really thought about using it. I mean, the kind of underlying philosophy of EFT is try it on everything. What have you got to lose? And it usually works. So one day she was she lived at home because of COVID, and she had to move back home, and she was doing a lot of the cooking, and she'd always ask me to smell it and taste it. And I don't know, one day I was just like, hey, we should try EFT on your taste and smell and see if it works. And she didn't want to. And I can't tell you why. I don't know why. Sometimes kids don't want to do what their moms suggest. Yeah. And I offered it a few times. She's like, no. And I was like, fine, I'm going to go find some people that will play with me. So on my Facebook group, my own business and organic reach friends and stuff, I started putting out there that I wanted to experiment. So I had 3 or 4 groups that came together, and I said, hey, I don't know if it'll work, but let's try it. And I was shocked and amazed at the results that I was getting with people. I was sharing with you before the show, I have a very close friend who was very health-minded. She had COVID 9 months before. Her essential oils had all turned to nasty smells, and she couldn't stand I think garlic and meat were just nauseating to her. And so she was eating a lot of vegetables, but even some of her vegetables didn't have much joy in them anymore either. And she got complete and total resolution in 1 hour. And
Wow.
it was really awesome later when she sent me a text and said, because patchouli is her favorite essential oil. And she said, I went and got my patchouli and I smelled it and I just wanted to cry because it smelled normal again. And that was just so gratifying to hear that. And as I've now tapped with 5 or 6 groups of people with these issues, I've then become also aware of the emotions that are tied to this issue. You know, people, when they've gone for even a few weeks, start getting frustrated and emotional. And we take for granted, I think, how much our smell and taste contributes to our everyday wellness and happiness. And you know, especially at the holidays right now, where you think about all of the smells and tastes that are involved with the holidays. And there's a lot of emotions that go along with that when you aren't able to enjoy it that way.
Exactly. The olfactory sense is the strongest for memory and emotion.
Yes.
So yeah, that can be, I can imagine. I mean, even just being stuffy with a cold and losing your sense of smell just a little bit is sad. But yeah, I can't imagine going months and months and months without it.
Well, it's interesting because I kind of had an aha moment last week that I hadn't really made the connection before. But when I've been teaching EFT to groups for years and years, and we have a chocolate experiment that I do. And so I bring Hershey's Kisses and hand them out to everybody. And because it works on cravings and addiction as well. So I hand out the chocolate, everybody takes a little taste, and I measure on a scale of 0 to 10 how high their craving is. And usually, especially after they take a taste, everybody's up close to 10. So we do the tapping on the cravings, and I can't remember anyone that's ever gone ahead and eaten the kiss after we've done the tapping. They all just throw it in the garbage. And but I usually ask, you know, taste it again and let me know what you think about the taste now. And some people won't even taste it. They're like, no, I don't want it. I have zero craving. I don't even want to taste it. But the ones that do often get a look on their face and they're like, it doesn't taste good anymore. It tastes chemicals, sometimes they say, or it tastes kind of fake. It doesn't have a pleasant taste anymore. And I've really thought about that over the years and how much our emotions play into our senses. And so the connection that I made was, oh, it only makes sense that because sometimes when people are emotional in the calls about, you know, how they're feeling about the loss, we'll just tap on the emotions, and then they'll go ahead and taste or smell what they've brought to the class, and then they can taste and smell it when we focused on the emotions, not the actual loss. So it's
that's fascinating.
Yeah.
Wow. Really powerful stuff.
Yeah.
I was wondering, and I didn't ask you before, so I'm really putting you on the spot, but would you feel comfortable bringing us through like a simple tapping?
Oh, of course.
Like a modified? Yeah. Okay, yeah. So it'd be great for people to see and they could follow along with you.
So you get to pick. Like stress management is my favorite thing, and I do stress with people a lot, and we can do that. Or if you have, you know, some tension or a physical symptom, or, you know, what would you like to try it on?
Why don't we do stress? Because this show will air right around a stressful point for people, you know, getting ready for the holidays. So let's do that.
Okay. So what I usually do with someone or even with a group is we just kind of get present with your body and start noticing where are you feeling stress. So some people, you know, they really carry it in their shoulders are up or their neck's tense. Some people feel anxious in their chest, or maybe their head is pounding. A lot of people have headaches, of course, or they feel like nervous butterflies or, you know, something in their gut. So you just want to identify where you're feeling the stress right now.
Okay.
And then as you focus in on that on a scale of 0 to 10, how high is it? So, you know, 10, you're ready to be hauled off to the hospital, and 0, you are sound asleep with not a care in the world.
Yeah.
Where are you on that scale?
All right.
Okay. So I'm not going to, I do have a introductory little class. It's only like 30 minutes that I have recorded, and I can share that link with you if you want,
Yeah.
for anybody who's watching this. So I won't go ahead and explain all of the points and everything, but what I usually tell people who aren't familiar is, if you remember playing Simon Says as a kid, you're just going to play Simon Says with me. So you're going to say the things I say and do the things I do. And when we're finished, then if you have some questions, you can ask me about it.
Sounds good.
Okay, so we're going to start by tapping right here on the fleshy part of the hand. It's called the karate chop point. So that's how you'll know that you're on the right spot. And then we just say an affirmation. We actually focus on the negative, which doesn't make sense to so many people when we try to focus on the positive, but it's just giving your brain a message. Hey, focus on this for just a minute, and we're accepting ourselves. So even though I have this stress, and you can pause for what kind of stress it is. It could be Christmas stress. It could be family stress. It could be sleep stress, whatever it is. I deeply and completely accept myself. So we're just accepting ourselves, even though we have a problem.
I deeply and completely appreciate myself.
And we say it 3 times. Even though I have this stress, I deeply and completely accept myself.
I deeply and completely appreciate myself.
One more time. Even though I have this stress.
Even though I have this
You can say appreciate. I deeply and completely love and accept or appreciate myself.
Deeply love and appreciate myself.
And then we just focus on some reminder points. This stress. And if it's in a particular place in your body, you can say, you know, this stress in my chest, or this stress in my gut. This stress. This holiday stress. There's so much to do.
So much to do.
I'm overwhelmed with stress.
Overwhelmed with stress.
I feel so stressed in my body, or my chest, or wherever. Shoulders.
So stressed in my head.
This stress.
This stress.
Yeah. And then take a deep breath. And then notice where you are feeling that, and has there been a change?
Yeah, there's definitely been a change.
How much would you say? Like, what number did you start out at?
I was about at a 5, and I'm probably down at a 3.
Okay. And so the only thing there is to do, and we'll go ahead and do that because it only takes a couple minutes, is just to tap another round or 2. So even though I still have some of this stress in my head, or wherever your viewers are feeling that,
even though I still have stress in my head, I deeply appreciate. I don't know why I keep saying appreciate. I deeply appreciate myself.
It feels comfortable for you, no problem. Even though I have this stress in my head.
Even though I have this stress in my head.
I love and appreciate myself.
I love and appreciate myself.
I know it sounds weird, but even though I have this stress in my head.
Even though I have the stress in my head.
I deeply and completely accept myself.
Deeply and completely accept myself.
I still have some stress.
I still have some stress.
I'm still feeling it.
Still feeling it.
This stress in my
head.
This holiday stress.
This holiday stress.
This job stress or family stress, whatever it is.
This stress.
So much stress.
So much stress.
So much to do.
So much to do.
We're going to keep going because you can. All these things to do.
All these things to do.
So much stress.
So much stress.
I'm letting it go.
I'm letting it go.
I'm taking a breath.
Taking a breath.
I'm being present.
Being present.
Choosing to let this stress go.
Choosing to let this stress go.
Choosing to see what I'm grateful for.
Choosing to see what I'm grateful for.
Remaining stress.
Remaining stress.
Remaining stress.
Remaining stress.
And then take a deep breath.
Yeah. Nice. That feels really good.
Yeah.
And
What
this
would
is
you say your number is now? If you went from a 5 to a 3, what's your number now?
I'm probably pretty low. I mean, I'm not asleep, so I'm not a 0.
Right.
So
Yeah.
like a 1 or a 2. Yeah.
Okay, good.
That's really interesting. I feel my because I'm pregnant, it's hardly like I have to catch my breath constantly, but I'm
Mhm.
finding like I'm breathing better too. So my heart must not be as beating as fast as well.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's actually sometimes when I'm working with someone, they notice that it's in their breath, that they can't get a full breath. And so we'll just tap on the breathing part of it, even though I can't get a full breath. And in a few rounds, they're just taking these great, big, nice, full breaths.
Wow. That's so cool. And so when you work with, I had never heard of or thought of doing the EFT with people who have the food cravings.
Mm-hmm.
So when you do that, you're actually having them tap through, like I'm craving this food and having to release the emotion that's behind that, attaching that craving.
Yeah. Yeah. So as a health coach, you could see how valuable that is, because a lot of times we have clients and doctors do as well that don't follow the directions that they've been given or the suggestions that they've been given. And, we're all human beings. We're all dealing with things and struggling with things. And to tell someone, all right, it would be really better for you if you give up all junk food. Like that's terrifying.
That's
for some
huge.
people.
Right. Exactly.
Other people are like,
Exactly.
fine, I'll just drop it. But for those people that struggle, this is a tool that can help them get more control over the choices that they want to make. Because when you have a craving so intense that you just can't control it, what do? Well, we give them breathing exercises and meditation and that kind of thing. But this is something that can work really quickly, that they can learn themselves and do themselves.
Yeah. Yeah. That's amazing. Awesome. Thank you so much for sharing all this information with us.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Now, you had mentioned you do group classes as well as one-on-one sessions.
Yeah.
And people can find that information on your website, EFTcoach.com.
Probably the best place is on my Facebook page.
Facebook. Okay.
So if you go to the Dawn. What did we say it was? DawnNorton.wellness.
Dawn.Norton.wellness. I have it here scrolling on the bottom for people who want to see.
Okay. Yeah, that's my EFT Coach Facebook page. I'm currently working with Facebook because I got locked out this weekend because someone took over my account without my permission, and they're not letting me post right now. So if you don't see me posting or responding, that's why. But I'm hoping within the next couple of days it'll be back and functioning.
Okay.
But you can email me too at dawn@EFTcoach.com.
Okay.
If you have questions. And I don't know if you're able to post links later, but I can give you a link that they can get some introductory information to EFT.
Yeah. This is also broadcasting to our Facebook Hello Health page. So any kind of follow-ups like books and things that we talk about in these shows I can post on there. So definitely we'd love to share that link so people can see. And definitely follow Dawn. She has so much information on this fascinating technique that's been around, and it actually uses ancient Chinese medicine because you're tapping on acupressure points.
Yep,
So
they were discovered 5,000 years ago by the Chinese.
Yeah, exactly.
Still used. Yep.
And it's amazing with a lot of these alternative therapies that's basically what we say. I'm a massage therapist, so we're actually certified in cupping, my business. And I mean, that's been around for centuries as well, but it's funny how it all kind of it just gets adapted,
right,
to our modern lifestyle. And this is something that you can do. I mean, I wouldn't mind doing this in public, but maybe some people would, but it's something you can do pretty easily if you're sitting at your desk or at the dinner table or, something, that you can do with your eyes open.
And my youngest client has been a 5-month-old baby, and my oldest client has been in their 90s. So it's everyone can benefit. It really helps calm and soothe babies. One of my very favorite uses is I've been invited to more than a few childbirths and to help calm and soothe the mom while she's going through labor and contractions. And it's just an amazing, very adaptive tool. And it really is kind of like try it on everything. You have nothing to lose.
Yeah. I'm going to try it on my 3-year-old tonight, so you can go to sleep better.
Oh, it's so great for sleep. Oh my gosh. And with little kids, you can just tell them, do you know what, sweetie? You have some magic buttons. And when you play with the magic buttons, they help you feel better. And so you just show them the tapping points, and you can even just rub on them. If they don't like the tapping feeling, you can just rub on them and have them take some deep breaths and say, I'm a good kid. And it's very relaxing for them and for grownups too.
Yeah, absolutely. It's awesome. Well, thanks again. It was such a pleasure having you on the show. And this is just fascinating stuff.
Yeah, you're so welcome.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you, Karen. Have a good one.
All right.
Hey, thanks for joining me here today. I'm going to show you how to make the most yummiest little drink that everyone will love. My kids love it. So I just simply have some ice cubes that are starting to melt. That's the magic of how these things work. And some frozen pomegranate seeds. So it's very like beautiful, wintry, seasonal, but it's good in the summer too. Who am I trying to kid? Now, these have been frozen, but they don't have to be. So you just simply like, I should have set up my camera so that I could show you, but I didn't. You just dump them in. There they are in there. And then you squish a lime or a lemon, and then that's it. And then normally you would have already taken the lid off because you were recording this and you would want to be like really dialed, but I didn't do that. And then you add it. And it's this beautiful shade of purple. I don't know if you can see that, but the pomegranate seeds like bubble around, and it's just really pretty and super good for you because pomegranates are incredible for you. They're an amazing prebiotic, so they're feeding your gut bugs all sorts of good things, and they taste amazing. Thanks for hanging out with me today.
And that wraps up our show for today. Thank you so much for tuning in. Here's my recommended reading if you're interested in learning more about tapping, which I find super fascinating. This was my introduction to tapping, Tapping Solution by Nick Ortner. He lays it out pretty simply if you'd like to read more about it. And of course, contact Dawn if you'd like to try tapping in a session. She's just such a wealth of knowledge. Also, I would like to share that I am offering a free heart math workshop Tuesday, December 28th. So that's just a couple days away at 7 p.m. It's my holiday gift to you through my business, Sea Change Functional Medicine Health Coaching. And heart math is this amazing strategy, very quick technique I'm going to show you about connecting your heart and your brain in the moment. So when you're faced with a stressor, you're in traffic, your kids are screaming, you burned your dinner, anything that causes you stress, this quick technique, there are many techniques with heart math, but I'm going to show you the quick coherence technique, which will show you how to quickly connect your heart and your brain to be able to make clear-headed, wise decisions in the moment. Some people call it a flow state. It's the same philosophy. So if you're interested in signing up for that, please visit my website, seachangewell.com, or on Facebook at See Change Well. There's an event page that you can look at there as well. I hope you can join us. Free class, Tuesday, December 28th, just a couple days away. A lot of people have that time off. It's a great time to reset, get ready for the new year, and hope you can join us. So let me know. And I hope you all have a wonderful week this week between Christmas and New Year, which can sometimes be a lost week for people, but hopefully it's a rejuvenating week for you. You're able to spend time with friends and family or just rest, whatever you choose to do. I hope you stay healthy, stay safe. And until I see you next time, I will see you on the flip side. Take care. Bye.